So at the end of the last video, we noticed that there were unknown baby and infant names in the names database. And this gives me an opportunity to demonstrate another feature of windowed functions. So I'm going to start with select. Let's go ahead and select everything from all data where name in the set of infant, baby, and unknown. And let's actually go ahead and order by name first and then year after that. So here are the records for each baby from 1915 through 2014, and infant and unknown. And then to make this a little more interesting, let's say what I really want is one set of rows that has baby and the count and infant and the count and unknown and the count side by side for each year. So instead of three sets of rows like so, I want one set of rows that has all three names in it. And I can do that using a join. So let's do the second version. So this time I'm going to select year and name count. And then I'm going to group by those columns, and then so everything gets merged by gender. So let's come back to that. So let's group by year and name. And then let's order by year in ascending order. And then I have the from part. So the way I'm going to handle this is I'm going to left join all data to itself and then to itself one more time. And the first copy of all data will be the name baby, and the second copy of all data will be the name infant, and the third copy of all data will be the name unknown. So that's going to look like this: from all data as baby, join all data as infant on baby dot year is equal to infant dot year, and baby dot gender equal infant dot gender. So the year and the genders match. And then join all data as unknown on baby dot year equals unknown dot year, and baby dot gender is unknown dot gender. And then I want to pull out the rows where baby dot name is baby and infant dot name is infant and unknown dot name is unknown. And let's order by year. Actually, I already had that part, so let me get there. So I actually want one copy of year, and it's ambiguous because I have year in all three tables. So I'm just going to pick one. Doesn't matter which one, they're all the same. And then this is going to be baby.name and baby.name count. And then I want to sum that across genders. So sum. And then I also want to include infant.name, which is going to be infant, and some infant.name count. And that's infant count across gender. And finally, we're going to do unknown.name. Unknown.name count. Like so. And then for this group by, I want to group by any of the years, but I have to pick the one that I'm actually displaying here. And then baby.name, and then infant.name, and then unknown.name. So even though all of the values in the baby name column are going to be baby, and all the names in the infant column are going to be infant, and all the names in the unknown column are going to be unknown, I still have to put these in group by because SQL doesn't know that necessarily. So that's going to be as baby. This one's going to be as infant. And this one's going to be as unknown. Okay, so that should be the query. Let's go ahead and execute that. Okay, so actually I get data from 1983 up through 2013. And I forgot to put in left joins here, so I'm missing some data. So let's change that. So that's a left join there and a left join here. And actually, I want a full join. So even if there's no recorded instances of baby, I still want to get the other years for the other names. So let's do that. Okay, so I still only have data from 1983 through 2013, skipping some years. And just looking at this informally, I see that there's relatively few babies up until 86, 89, 90, sort of peaks around 93, and then trails off. And then after 2005, not many at all. And then for infants, there's like a big bump around 1990 for some reason. And then trails off in 2006 again. And then for unknown, I have a big bump in 1991 or so. And then it trails off. So I can use windowed functions to aggregate these values, but I can also use windowed functions to show a rolling count. So what I want to know, for example, is I want to be able to answer the question, how many babies in, say, 2002 up to the year 2002, how many babies were named baby. So that's going to include everything from the beginning all the way up through 2002 and a running total. And then for infant, I want to be able to say, up till 2005, how many babies had the name infant, and so on. So that's going to look like what we did with windowed functions before, but there's going to be a difference. So let's start with, I want to sum baby.nameCount over. And actually, that one goes with the group by. This one is going to go with the windowed function. So just like we looked at before, I'm going to doubly group this. And then I want to over, and before I used partition by to create a set of values, this time I'm going to use ordered by. Where's it ordered by? It's probably just ordered by. A year. So we'll call that a running total. And it should be order by year. There's my comma. And if I execute this, so ambiguous column name year, I have to specify which year I want, even though there's really only one. There. Okay. So in baby count across gender, I have 54 and 141. In running total, 54 plus 141 is 195, plus 91 is 286, plus 184 is 470, and then add 284 and so on. So that's giving me the running total for all years. And then I can do the same thing for infant and for unknown as well. So this is going to be, actually, I know why I wasn't getting all the data. I made one mistake. So I'm going to finish doing this part and then I'm going to fix it. So this is going to be infant.nameCount. And I'm going to keep this as baby.year because that's what's in the group by. If I change that to infant.year, I'd have to change the group by as well. And then one more here for unknown.nameCount. So there's my 3 columns. Good. So here's my running total for baby. Here's my running total for infant. 11 plus 23 is 34 plus 18 is 52. And my running total for unknown, 8, 20, 31. So that's working. Okay, so what I forgot to do was I used a full join before, but I'm still checking where baby.name is baby, infant, or unknown. And if there was a row missing in one of these tables for the join, the value of baby.name, infant.name, or unknown.name is going to be null, and so this is going to return false. So what I want to do is use isNull, baby.name, comma, baby, and that way it's going to match either if the name is baby or if the value is null. And that will prevent my rows from getting cut out. Is null infant and is null unknown. Okay, so let's go ahead and execute that. Okay, it's been over 3 minutes so far, and I have no idea how long this is going to take, but the way this query is written, it's making the query engine actually join all of this data together. And there's millions of rows in all data, million times million. And I think it's joining everything together and filtering each row because of the way I have this condition written. So bottom line is it's taking a long time. So this is a good opportunity to show you how to stop a query. If you have a runaway query like this, you can just hit this little stop button and it will cancel it. And even though the results from before were incomplete, let's go ahead and run that query again. Make sure it still works. So I'm going to get rid of what I just did. And I think the way this is written now, it's able to actually, the query engine is able to do some filtering during the course of putting the results together instead of afterwards. So I think this is way more efficient. Yeah, so that's like 1 second to calculate. So what I would do next if I needed to make the query work is I would actually use subqueries in order to restrict the data first and then join on those subqueries. And we're going to be talking about subqueries next week. So I'm going to hold off on that discussion until then. For now, I'm just going to use these incomplete results. So I ended up with a running total. And what I really want to do, though, is express that running total as a percent. Because these numbers are hard for me to make sense out of. I think it's easier to see where the jumps are. And to express this as a percentage of the total. So, for example, what percentage is 54 over the total of, 10,085? Very small percentage, and then more, higher and higher percentage. And then you get to the last row, which is going to be 100%. So I want to divide running total divided by this number here. And this number I can get by summing over partition by, and then just the things that are distinct. So basically I want to fold all of the years together and just aggregate by everything else. So I guess just like so. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to sum baby.nameCount over partition by baby.name. And that's just going to be baby total. So let's go ahead and see if that works first, and then we'll do the next bit after. Good. So my baby total is 10,085 for all those rows, which is what I want. And so to express the running total as a percentage, I'm going to take my running total, multiply that by 100, and divide that by my total. So this column now is going to be named percent baby. And then I'm going to do the same thing for infant and for unknown. So there's my percent baby. Here's my percent infant, and the difference is going to be that I'm using infant name count. And then these really don't matter because it's the same group of rows if I group partition by baby name count. And oh, actually this does matter. So this one needs to be infant name count. The order by baby year, that's going to be the same. Partition by baby name, everything's going to get grouped into one row. So it really doesn't matter, but I'm going to go ahead and just for the heck of it, I'll go ahead and partition by infant.name. It's the same group, but whatever. And then I'm going to do the last group here for unknown. And I should have a comma at the end I'm going to get rid of. So this is going to be %infant, and this is %unknown. And we'll partition by unknown, and we'll sum infant name count, and sum, I'm sorry, that should be an unknown name count. Yeah, unknown name count, unknown name count. So that should be the whole query. Let's go ahead and execute it. Okay, so 1%, 1.9%. If I keep scrolling, I see that baby, it's 50% right around 1994, 1995. And those are where the big jumps are. So it's pretty flat up until 88 or so. And then I hit 50% in 94, 95. And then it flattens out again around 2004. And then infant percent, we hit 50%. Actually, let me, in 1993, 1994, so a little bit earlier than baby. And that peaks and starts to flatten out around 2002, 2003. So it looks like infant is the early leader, and then baby sort of takes over from that. And then for unknown, it's flat until it's 50% around 92, 91. So just a bit earlier than infant. And then it's pretty flat all the way up from there. So there's a big surge for 3 or 4 years, and then it sort of flattens out by about 2000 or so. Now, I've been using pretty much just sums for these examples because they make sense for this particular application. But there are several other windowed functions that you can use here. Commonly, the aggregation functions like count to get a running count, and average to get a running average, just like I use the sums here to get a running sum. But there are some other ones as well that we may take a look at later on.